Hey everyone, today's objective is I can divide a whole number by a whole number to produce a fraction. I can interpret the remainder as a fraction, and I can determine which two wholes is between. I will do this by drawing models, solving word problems, and using a written method. I know I am meeting expectations when I can solve 2 out of 3 problems correctly on the exit ticket. So let's start with guided learning number 1, part A. It says we need to draw a picture to represent the division sentence below, then express your answer as a fraction. So 2 divided by 2. Well, that means that we have 2 objects. So let's draw 2 rectangles. And we're splitting those 2 objects into 2 groups, or like I like to think of, between 2 people. So let's split that between person A and person B. Let's see. That means that person A is going to be getting 1 whole. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. We can also represent this, if you would rather do it with circles, and you don't have to do it both ways, you can just do it one way. If we have 2 parts and we're splitting that between 2 groups, so giving one group or one part to group blue and the other part to group purple, I can see that in this blue group, it has 1 part. 2 divided by 2 is still 1. Let's try this for the next one. 1 divided by 2. So we have 1 whole, and we're going to split that between 2 people. So we can do that by splitting this in half, giving half of this to person A and half to person B. I can see out of my whole, person A is getting 1/2 and person B is going to get 1/2. So 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. Remember what we talked about a few weeks ago and yesterday as well? When we're dividing a whole number by a whole number, this first number up here, our dividend, becomes our numerator. And the second number that we're dividing by, our divisor, becomes our denominator. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. If you would rather, and you don't have to do it both ways, but if you'd rather have 1 whole in splitting this between 2 groups, we can split it in half. And instead of labeling A and B, we can give 1 to group orange and the other to group purple. And we can see that half of our whole green part or whole green rectangle is going to go to the orange group. So still we're seeing 1/2. You can choose which way you want to draw it. Now we're going to do 1 divided by 3. So we have 1 whole. Let's see, we need to put this into 3 groups. So if I was splitting that between 3 people, so if this is 1 chocolate bar split between 3 people, I know that I'm going to have to divide this 1 chocolate bar into 3 equal parts. That way I can give 1 part to person A, 1 part to person B, and 1 part to person C. I can see person A is getting 1/3 of the entire chocolate bar, person B is getting 1/3, and person C is getting 1/3. Each person is going to get 1/3 of the entire chocolate bar. And if we notice, just like we said before, our dividend or our first number is on top, and our divisor or our second number, oh my goodness, there we go, or our second number is on the bottom. Let's try that for D. Now we have 2 parts. We're going to split this between 3 people. So I'm going to show you a few different ways we can draw this. So first, we can split this into 3 equal parts so that each of our 2 chocolate bars is split into 3 equal parts. We're going to give the first part to person A, second part to person B, third part to person C, and same thing here. First part to person A, second part to person B, and third part to person C. Now each person is getting, let's see, 1/3 of this chocolate bar, and the other person is getting 1/3 of this chocolate bar. So together, person A is getting 1/3 plus 1/3, or 2/3 of the chocolate bar. So I'm going to say each person gets 2/3. Once again, notice that the dividend, the first number here, is on top, and our divisor, or our second number here, 3, is on the bottom. All right, let's do E. Now we have 3 wholes split between 2 people or into 2 groups. So I'm going to split each of these into 2 parts. I'm going to say that this part goes to person A, this part goes to person B. This part goes to person A, this part goes to person B, This part goes to person A. The last part goes to person B. All right, so that means out of each chocolate bar, person A is going to get 1/2 each time. So 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2, I can see is 3/2. We can also rewrite this as 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1 whole, and we have this last half left over. So notice 3, our dividend over here, is on top, and 2, our divisor, is on the bottom. All right, now let's try a word problem. Claire has 5 pies. She splits them evenly between herself and her 3 friends. How much pie will each person get? Let's start by writing a division sentence. We have a total of 5 pies, and we're splitting that between herself and 3 friends. So that's a total of 4 people. We're going to split that between 4 people. We're not dividing by 3 because she's including herself. So herself and her 3 friends is 4 people. Let's start by writing 5 wholes. Sorry, I ran out of room. Split between 4 people. So 2 ways we can do this. Either we can have 4 different colors, each circle 1, and split up this last part, or we can go ahead and split each whole into 4 parts, and each person will get 1/4 of every whole. So instead of labeling A, B, C, D, because that's going to take a while, I'm just going to label for person A, the first person. They're going to get the first part of each whole. So they're getting the first 1/4 part of every whole. I'm going to change colors real quick. Let's see, green. Okay, so here, person A is getting 1 part out of 4 parts here. So they're getting 1/4 of that chocolate bar. They're going to get 1/4 of the second chocolate bar, 1/4 of the third, 1/4 of the fourth, and 1/4 of the fifth. So if I count, they're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and each whole is split into 4 parts. So they are getting 5/4 of every, or I'm sorry, 5/4 of all the pies, not chocolate bars, sorry, pies. So 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, plus 1/4 is 3/4, plus 1/4 is 4/4, plus 1/4 is 5/4. I can also see 5. That was an awful arrow on this pencil. My goodness gracious. Okay, so I can see that 5, our dividend, which is our first number, is on top, and 4, which is our divisor, is on the bottom. Let's do the same thing with Layla and 7 pieces of gum. So Layla has 7 pieces of gum. She splits the gum evenly between herself and 2 friends. Herself and 2 friends. That means that's 3 people total. How much gum will each person get? We're going to, my goodness, it's not doing very well with my drawings today. So we're going to make 7 pieces, or 7 holes, I should say, to represent the pieces of gum. We're going to split that between 3 people. So we're going to split each hole into thirds so that everyone gets 1 part of each hole. And once again, I'm only going to label what person A is getting, even though we're having A, B, and C for 3 people. So person A is going to get the first third of the whole second. There we go. So that means out of this hole, person A is getting 1/3. Out of this hole, now she has 2/3. Here, she now has 3/3 or 1 whole. Now she has 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, 7/3. So she had 7 pieces of gum. She's splitting that between 3 people. That means each person is going to get 7/3, or let's see, we have 1, 2, 3/3 equals 1 whole. I'm going to change color. Oh my goodness, haven't done that before. I'm going to change colors. Purple. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, that's 2 holes. And then here is our last leftover third. So that's 2 holes and 1/3 left over. Jefferson has 9 Reese's cups. He splits them evenly between himself and 4 friends. So that's 5 people total. How much will each person receive? So he has 9 Reese's cups. He's splitting them between 5 people. So let's start. We have 9 wholes, because that's what we're splitting up. We're not splitting up the people. That would be very bad. And we have 9 wholes. We're splitting that between 5 people. So that means each person, or each of the Reese's cut is going to be split into 5 equal parts. Once again, I'm just going to write down what person A is going to get, even though we do know that we have 5 people. So person A is going to get the first fifth of this one, first fifth of that. And this just helps me visually see how many times I'm writing for person A. Okay, so that means out of this whole, person A is getting 1/5 of that Reese's cup. So that's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, or 1 whole, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5. So that means that our answer for how much each person receives is 9/5, or we can rewrite this as a mixed number. So here's 1, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. That's 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 4/5 left over. All right, let's try the rest on your own. Make sure you check with your answer key when you are done.